Hey everybody, Anish Majumdar here, career coach to the fiercely ambitious, chiming in on some news that's been getting massive coverage out here when it comes to hiring, the job markets. You know, we're approaching the end of the year. It's pretty common and it's pretty expected, right, that if you did a great job, you were clear what those expectations were, you might be asking for a raise this year, right? Certainly, with inflation at record rates, you might be asking for a cost of living increase, right? Well, a very disturbing trend that has always been there on some level, but is happening much more often right now and will be happening through the end of the year is occurring that you should just be aware of, okay? Because if you're employed right now, if you're in one of those positions, or you're thinking about it, or you're just concerned because you're underpaid and you know that you are, definitely listen up because this definitely applies to you, okay? So here is a article I want to just review with you guys that goes to the heart of some of this, okay? My manager told me during my performance evaluation that I really don't do anything, so I resigned, okay? I'm a project manager on medium to large civil projects in Hawaii. About a month ago, I asked for a raise greater than the inflation rate, more than 6%. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit even more for you. They offered me a maximum of 2% and scheduled a performance eval for October 28th. During that entire evaluation, it felt that I was 100% there to justify not giving me a raise that is in line with the record profits the jobs I managed are getting. My supervisor asked me, what do I do for the entire 8 hours on a day? Insulting just in and of itself, right? Patronizing. He wanted me to account for all of my time. That is a time management question. Is a failure of management, okay? Because that just basically says account for the minutes and time. And anyone who's in any position of authority and leadership knows that you cannot draw that kind of equation, right? What a high performer can do in 30 focused minutes can be way more than what a mouth breather can do in 10 hours of pretending to work. We know that, right? So just that alone gives you the warning signs, and clearly we're setting up warning signs here, right? So he wanted me to account for all of my time. What do you do for all 40 hours during the week, he said, because jobs pretty much run themselves. Yeah, the 6 jobs just run themselves. Before the meeting was over, he said that if I didn't justify my time, he was going to fire me on November the 24th. So I left the meeting, went to my office, and turned on let recruiters contact me on Indeed and LinkedIn. Within a week, I had 4 interviews and 1 offer. Good hustle on this guy, right? I mean, I wish I could use some of this alchemy with everyone I work with, right? That urgency in 2 weeks and confidence. In 2 weeks, I had 2 offers and had them making bids. I had plans to quit without notice, but I live on an island and it is a revolving door in my field. So I submitted plenty of notice. Again, doing all of the right things, you know? Very, very key. It's not about whether you're leaving a company. It's not about whether you bled and sweat for them for a year plus or 2 years plus. No. Okay. The key for, leaving without burning bridges is transparency. The reason people have to deal with bad bosses, people that it's not always because that they were innocents. If you blindsided them, or you told them, or you pretended through your not speaking that everything was fine, and then they have to scramble in 2 weeks, that's a problem. But that's not what this person did, right? So I had plans to quit, so fine. November 5th made my last day November 24th. I've been copying my boss on all emails and correspondence since November 5th to ease the transition. Today he came into my office and asked me what would I need to stay additional time. I said that now they see the value. Now when it's serious and it's not braggadocious, right? You're like, how are we going to get one person to run all 6? We were underpaying this guy massively, as this guy had already picked up, right? He offered a full month of salary in order to stay for 2 extra weeks. Wants me to stay until December 10th. All I said is, I'm pretty sure you guys will manage without me. Burn! The jobs pretty much run themselves, as you said, and I already accepted a position starting the 29th. I have been thinking about it, and the amount that they offered me for 2 weeks is more than what I asked for an entire year of work. All they had to do is give me the original 6% I asked for, which brings me to the point of this important video for all of you guys, okay? In a traditional year, asking for a 6%, 8%, 10% raise is decent. I mean, that's quite an ask, right? But we're going through a world right now where if you get a 2% cost of living increase, your salary went down by 4%. If you get a 3% cost of living, your salary went down by 3%. And is that an appropriate recompense for you and what you do? Is that an appropriate turnaround in terms of your effect, it's not. But look at it from the employer point of view now, right? So now, like, forget about raises, right? I'm already thinking that just to keep everyone on staff plus 6%, right? Just to say cost of living, or to not say, how am I going to get away from that, right? And most companies, unfortunately, they're not looking at it from the lens of these are the most precious assets that we have. Our people are the most precious things that we have. Right? They're not looking at it that way. They're looking at it like, hey, if we hired another person, got them to start at a lower level, could we get them to do the majority of this work? Right? So it's a tricky time because a lot of you, and this is not me saying don't ask for a raise. You should, if you feel like you deserve it. Especially if you've got a bit of a paper trail, absolutely you should stand up for yourself. It's not going to get easier to wait on that, right? Should you ask for a cost of living increase at a minimum of 6%? Absolutely. Repeat after me. In 2021, the new cost of living increase is 6% or 6.1% or whatever that is. Anything less than that is you getting paid less. And that is going to have an effect. You've got to fight. No matter what the outcome is, you've got to fight for what you know is right here. Okay? So understand, a lot of you are going to find out, especially if you haven't been that transparent, especially if your brand is not as strong as it needs to be, especially if the signals are not going out like this individual did, that look, if it either comes here, it does, but I'm in demand and I know what my market worth is. And if I need to move forward, I will, and you will see those actions take place. If you're not doing all of those things, you might be in for a bit of a rude awakening. You might only be asking and say, I only want 4%, but then they say, hey, you know what? Forget it. We're not going to do anything like that, right? Because in their mind, there was already a disconnect in terms of that value. So I want you all to be aware. This is a tricky situation when it comes to asking for raises and adjusting cost of living. Okay? It is very imperative that you go in there prepared, that you go in there with data points if you have them, with key proof. Okay? Email chains if necessary. You don't have to bring them out, okay? But have them. So that you know these are what the expectations were. We outperformed here. We did this that no one else could do. We did this that no one else can do. You got to treat it seriously, okay? Because you're going in there and they and all employers right now are looking at all of their talent through a much, much more critical lens and a critical eye than ever before. All right? Can't say you have not been warned. If you want to get deeper with me, if you want to stay abreast of what is really going on here, follow me on LinkedIn, Anish Majumdar, career coach to the fiercely ambitious. Let's create a community of people who are self-driven, hungry, and understand that the path to true success and fulfillment lies in you controlling your flow, you controlling your opportunities, you controlling your destiny. Never another boss or never another company. And you can do it now, unlike any other time in history. So what is your excuse? LinkedIn is where you can find me, guys. All right? Talk to you guys soon and keep the questions coming.